Welcome to Crypto Waffle. My name is Alex. This is Gabriel, and this is Crypto.si. My other name is Financial Navigator. Today's episode is episode 33. Today's topics, we will be as always dropping some gems of the week, but we will also be going big picture macro, as Gabriel has got some killer charts to walk us through. But first of all, Gabriel, give everyone 2-3 minutes about you, who you are, what you do, how you got to where you are today.
Well, hello everybody. My name is Gabriel. I'm living in Sweden right now, originally from Iraq. I studied medical scientist, and then I pursued after that a degree in construction as well. So I do a lot of analytics. I watch a lot of charts in my free time. I like to have an overall picture of the macro to understand how the economy works. I've been into the crypto space by the end of 2017, which of course, as a newbie, we buy the top and we ride it all the way down. Then I start reinvesting again in the bear market 2018, and the rest is history from there. This cycle, what I have under my belt is the complete picture of the economy, which I did not know about before. What drives the economy, what drives the assets, what drives Bitcoin. And that is the macro picture, that is the dollar, that is the business cycle, that is the liquidity. And we're going to explain all of these terminologies here in this video as well, so you guys can understand where we are in the cycle.
Yeah, perfect, thank you. So before we get into that big macro picture, do we have any thoughts on the recent events of what happened over the weekend, i.e. the US knocking out, or supposedly knocking out, 3 of Iran's nuclear facilities? How do you guys think that will affect, one, crypto specifically, and let's just talk about Bitcoin, because altcoins will probably follow what that does. And 2, in the broader macro scheme of things, do you think we will get oil spikes to $120, $100? Do you think this will now be or mark the bottom of inflation maybe in the US with the oil prices starting to spike? What do you think about that?
Who want to start?
Crypto.si, you go.
I will start because I'm quite sure Gabriel's got much more interesting things to say on this topic than I have. But my feeling is that I don't want to say nobody cares, but I don't think we're far off of that. There's potential for things to escalate. I don't think it's in anybody's interest for things to escalate. And I'm not quite sure that Iran have got the capabilities to escalate things anyway. I think if they did have the capabilities to escalate things, the US would probably not have attacked them. So for me, I think it's a case of just riding through this and kind of like the news, jumping on the bandwagon on what would have generally been chop and making us chop a little bit. We had spoken before and said we're expecting to go back down to the lower part of the 100s. We dipped just below 100 on the weekend with the bombing campaign starting. So it hasn't seemed to have affected markets that much. Obviously now, as we're recording this, it's Monday afternoon for us. The Americans have been awake for a little while. The VIX hasn't spiked. The S&P is doing okay. So nobody is really that fussed about it.
Oil's also down on the day.
Yeah, so I don't think it changes much. I think that the world has kind of probably gotten used to this sort of I don't want to say behavior. Yeah, this sorts of volatility, these sorts of actions. I think I think they're priced in now at this point. But I would love to hear what Gabriel says, because I'm sure his views are guided by something a little bit more sensible than just vibes, which is what's mine's guiding mine.
Yes. Regarding Bitcoin, if you guys are holding majority in Bitcoin, you should not be worried. I mean, 5-10% drop, that's it. Almost we are on the break of a third World War III, and Bitcoin haven't dropped more than, what is it? $10,000, even less than that?
No, much less than that. So we're looking at maybe 4 or 5%.
Exactly. But if you guys are holding alts, this is the problem. You should know which alts to hold. I mean, with all respect to all these meme communities and etc. and AI, but be really careful because even the top alts like Solana, like Sui, like Hype, they all dropped a lot. So if Bitcoin will correct to 95, 93, that is normal for Bitcoin, but for us they will bleed heavily. That's said, okay. Now the second thing, going back to the geopolitical issues, a lot of interesting individuals in the finance industry, they say, uh, show me the chart and I will tell you the news. News always fits, they try to, the price is king and they try to fit the price to the narrative. Oh, it's because of this war, Iran thing, whatever. There was a correction on global liquidity that we were anticipating that Bitcoin will correct, okay? And that's what led to this dump. Now, what's happened today during the war, if oil prices will shut up, if they close the Strait of Hormuz, that will impact us not today, it will impact in 3 months from now. But hopefully President Trump will try to keep the prices down because that's what he said today. And then the Israeli officials, they came out today and they said, we want to negotiate and to have a ceasefire with Iran. Basically, they have achieved their goal. That was the main goal that they want, to cripple the nuclear enrichment facilities, to kind of secure a few strategic points on Iran. And I don't think the Iranians are suicidal to close the Strait of Hormuz, otherwise it will be more escalation. But they have taken that approach in the parliament and they have signed it on the parliament, so they can go with it whenever they want. But as of now, they have not done anything. So as of now, there is no panic. So coming to the macro, if the oil prices shoot up, if they close the Strait of Hormuz, yeah, they will go to $150 to $200 per barrel, and that will cause a recession. But if it's a fast peak and a correction back down, based on what President Trump will say, then that won't be something to fear. But if the problem won't be solved, then of course that will be a problem. Now going back to the macro indicators, going back to the liquidity flows and etc., all the indicators are pointing at a cycle will extend to definitely Q1 2026, probably even Q2 2026. That's based on Paul Raoul as well. From Real Vision, based on Manuel Bly. And the philosophy of Paul Raoul is that he looks at the ISM business cycle, and the ISM measures the business cycle by measuring the manufacturing sector. And usually it have to go into its normal cycle, which is from 50 to 58, 60. Now it's still under contraction, under the 50 level. It's at 48.5, and if it dips under 47, then the Fed are forced to intervene and to save the economy. They literally have no other choice, because that will cause political issues, geopolitical problems. And I background this test with AI for many hours on deep search as well, and it said if that happened, if any crash from here and the manufacture gets slowed down under 47, which 1.5 points from here, the Fed will drop QT, maybe start even quantitative easing, and they will drop all interest rates just to save the economy. Exactly. So now we are safe because we're not so high in the business cycle, we're still in the bottom. So if we drop a little bit in the business cycle, they will save us by printing money. If not, then the cycle continue. The problem is what you're holding. If you're holding Bitcoin, you don't need to worry. If you're holding alts, that is, yeah, something.
I think it also depends on time frame though. If you've got a longer time frame and you can withstand a 30, 40, 50% correction, I think there's an argument to say you can sit in alts, obviously, but some alts will do better than others. Like the stronger ones of this cycle, SUI,
Yes.
Height, stuff like that, I think it will be fine. The likes of even Fartcoin and SPX, as much as they were down big, they have been stronger ones of the cycle. So it would not surprise me if they continue to go on to outperform.
Ga- Gabriel, do you also see this possibly as a buying opportunity? So we speak of the spikes and the possibility of maybe a spike in oil. It might be in 3 months' time, but a spike in oil that may mean quite a serious crash in the price of Bitcoin. It might mean definitely a serious crash in the price of alts. But if that spiked oil price doesn't remain for long and it soon retracts, do you think that those alts can soon recover? And is that then a buying opportunity if you jump in at the time when those alts have had that serious pullback?
Well, this is the thing, is that a lot of forex traders and seasonal traders, when they look at the seasonality of the dollar had its run, so it will drop. And basically, even when they look at oil, the oil is in a big downtrend, so it had just a small spike by 15%, then it met with resistance, then it went back down. So predicting the oil is a little bit harder, because that's a geopolitical issue.
Yeah.
It can spike 50% if something happened today. But is it sustainable or not? Then in that case, we have to look at the leader of the superpower, which is Donald Trump. He literally said today, oil need to come down. It's not good to have higher oil prices because you're helping the enemy. Now, I don't care who's the enemy or not. We all have our different opinions on who's the enemy or not. But what he meant is the oil have to come down. I don't care what you do, you get the oil down. And he will get it. They have seen what he's done. He scared everybody off right now. So literally, he will get it. So it won't spike. If it does, temporarily, he will put pressure on OPEC to increase production, to have different routes, to bring the price down.
He's also got the SVR to release in the US.
Exactly. And the most
Sorry,
important...
what is an SVR?
So the strategic oil reserves of the US.
Right. Okay.
So Biden effectively under his administration emptied them. They've then filled them back up since, and now it's full again. Obviously, if we had an oil spike, to keep the country of America happy per se, they could start releasing millions of barrels of that per day, effectively to stop big uproar, effectively.
The problem with that, it's I think only 500 million or something barrels. So
Yeah, it'll only last a certain amount of time.
exactly, yeah. So it cannot be, but it can help the situation. But you have a strong president that will get what he wants. And the most important thing to look at is the dollar. He wants a lower dollar. That is the one that drives liquidity. That is the driver of Bitcoin price. That is the driver of the business cycle. In 2017, when he came in power, inauguration to the White House, the dollar started dropping. Okay, the same in this presidency. As the day he came in power, literally the next day the dollar started declining, and it's recently broke from a support that's been held for 3 years, one of the longest period in the history of the DXY, and he wants it to go even lower. They want the dollar to be at a 90 level. Why? Because that will increase the manufacturing business in the US, and it can compete against the European goods. Because if you have a lower dollar and a higher euro, then the exchange rates and the goods will be more attractive to import from the US to EU.
So if we get that 90 in the dollar, what sort of time frame do you think we get that? Because I've been looking at that 97 area at the moment. But if we do come out of this long-term channel that we've kind of been in, that some people might have seen on my market updates, the target break for that actually takes us down to 80s.
I can share the chart as well.
Yeah, feel free.
See,
I'd like to. Oh, sorry, go on.
yeah, I was going to say, personally, I prefer a stronger dollar because I price my Bitcoin in dollars and it makes me feel like I've got more pounds. We've got a weaker dollar. Suddenly, my Bitcoin's worth less than what I would like it to be worth.
Yeah.
That shows so short-sighted.
I was looking actually at the euro dollar the other day. The euro dollar chart actually looks quite strong. So you might, in the short term, obviously not
Like,
financial advice, want to be holding euros rather than dollars.
So this is the chart here, okay? If we put Bitcoin on top of it, let me pick a cleaner one. This is a cleaner chart, easier for everybody to understand. So basically this is the DXY and the Bitcoin, its entire cycle, okay? You can see it's this is the 2016-17 cycle. When the dollar started dropping here, Bitcoin went parabolic. And literally this zone was the top of the cycle. The same in COVID, when it dropped here due to a stimulus and dropping interest rate, then Bitcoin reached the first stop, then this small bounce and double bottom, it coincided with this one. Then the dollar went on an extremely strong momentum. It topped here, and that gave us the bottom on Bitcoin a few months after. So basically the dollar leads Bitcoin by, let's say, 3 months. And during this entire period, the dollar was trading between this range, okay? And that's why you see Bitcoin was like consolidating, going sideways, consolidating, going sideways. There has been no parabolic run in Bitcoin. Here, where Donald Trump came in power, let's see here, somewhere here, let's say, and somewhere here, the inauguration. Here he said he wanted a weaker dollar, he got it. Here as well. He said he wanted a weaker dollar, so he got it. Now, if we stay away from all the speech of the president and what he wants and the macro, we can maybe only stick with the TA to make it easier for everybody. This is a very common pattern that we call a bear flag, and literally this bear flag have a target, and it was broken, and the target is the same pole of the flag, and you pull it here and you take it from the place of the breakout, okay? So that is the target. And this goes in hand with the two previous cycles where the dollar bottomed out. We have two references, two previous Bitcoin cycles where the dollar bottomed out at that level.
So if that's to play out, Gabriel, what sort of time frame do you think we need for the dollar to fall down to around that 90 area? Could that be done in 2 months? Could it be done in 6 months? Will it be another 12 months? How long have people got to wait for their altcoin bags to move?
Then we need to use this chart here. This is the DXY. It's already broken here. There it is. This is the ISM, the business cycle, and this is the Bitcoin dominance. Okay? As soon as the dollar starts trending lower from this range, as you can see here, that will drop the dominance, and that will make the ISM go above 50. The same here. This is COVID crash. The dollar was going down. The dominance was going down because the ISM was reaching above 50. This is the green line is when the ISM reached above 50, and this is the top of the cycle. If we even put Bitcoin on top of it, you can see that this top corresponded with the Bitcoin top. So based on the prediction, it should have started from now, because the DXY is literally at this level here, where it's previously start rallying up. But the ISM is the report of the ISM comes only once a month, so we need to wait for the end of the month to see where the ISM will be. On my estimation, I think the ISM will be trending higher from here. It found its low. Okay? Because there is an inverse correlation between the ISM and the DXY. So if we take the DXY and we put it inversely as an inverse scale, and we kind of shut everything down here, even the drawings, you can see
They move together in sync.
they move together. But the only difference is we need to take this and project it 4 months in the future.
So you could say, is there an argument to say that the dollar is maybe a forward-looking indicator in this case?
Exactly, by almost 4 months. And we can even construct that chart and make it even more accurate. We can go back here. We can close this one.
So the three key things I think that people need to take away from those charts you just showed us is we need the dollar to continue falling lower. We need the ISM to start picking up. And once they both do, Bitcoin dominance should also start to drop. Is that correct?
Definitely. So the most important thing is the lower rate on the DXY. Then the ISM will start trending higher later in this year, and that will kickstart the altcoin season. The question is, nobody will know when the altcoin season is unless you are in it, because no one will give you a heads up. It's simple as that. So that's why you need to prepare, and you need to understand which are the leading and the lagging indicators on the time frames that you can use and prepare yourself for the altcoin season. And this is like a simple TA. I'm just trying to move everything away here. Okay, I already have it down here. Prepared 74. Let's see here, and we add the ISM on top of it. Exactly. I have already a chart pattern for the DXY provided some earlier, and it's literally 4 months leading. So this is the chart pattern for the DXY, and if you put it here, like with 4 month lag exactly on top, you see that the ISM should be trending higher.
So by October, we should be way above 50 on the ISM.
November.
Yeah.
Yes, if this trend keeps on going the way it is going.
Yeah.
And in order to understand that this trend is going to keep on going like that, is we go to a financial condition index, and that financial condition index is also a forward leading indicator about 9 months. It gives a more heads up in the future, and it's also inversely correlated with the ISM because I put the chart on the inverse scale. So you can see it topped here, the ISM topped after. Now it's trending higher on a higher highs and higher lows, and you see the ISM also trending on higher highs and higher lows. So we can do the same thing. We can take a chart pattern, okay, and then we slide this, and then we move the index a little bit to the front. It's a carbon copy. You see those wicks? It's a carbon copy. So basically this top is with this top, these tops here, this bottom is here, this top is here, and this bottom is here. So it should start trending higher.
That's a beautiful chart.
Yeah, and this index is based on interest rate, commodity prices, and the DXY.
So Gabriel,
So that is the macro picture, the big
with
picture. And the dollar impacts the global liquidity. We can also...
I was going to ask, how does global liquidity play into all of that?
The global liquidity is based on the liquidity of the central banks, the money that they can put in the system, and based on the rate of exchange on the dollar. So what does that mean is if the dollar drops, liquidity increases.
Are you still there, Gabriel?
Even without the banks stimulating. And that's what we had in 2018, 17,
oh,
sorry.
No.
The Fed was not stimulating, but the dollar was dropping.
Just give him a minute, see if he comes back.
He did say he was having
China.
some
Yeah, and we can
technical
see
difficulties.
from technical difficulties.
Right, Gabriel, he's back. He's back. Gabriel, we lost
sorry,
you for the last minute or two, so go again.
Yeah. Yes, basically the dollar, the rate of change on the dollar will impact the global liquidity, because the global liquidity is everybody's, all the central banks' liquidity. We're talking about the yuan, the yen, the sterling, the all those countries combined together, and they calculate the index with the US dollar. So if the US dollar goes down in value, that index will go up because the dollar is weakened against the euro, the sterling, the yuan, and the Japanese yen. So that is the correct way to measure it. So this is the dollar, and we put the global liquidity index here. My apologies, the internet is not working very well today. It feels like I'm in the third world country, but I'm in Scandinavia. This is like very fascinating. So we activate all the central banks, and it's calculated in the US dollar. It's in the trillions of US dollar. So this is what we see. Dollar go down, liquidity go up. Very easy way to measure it is just inverse the chart of the dollar and put it on a line chart. Let's see here. And voila. They follow each other. They're very closely correlated. See?
The dollar's still got quite a way to go.
Yeah. and the dollar still got a lot of way to go. See here, every week is the same.
So, question. So, for the people that might not be crypto related here, let's say you're living in Europe or the UK, do you, in this instance, hold your local currency, or would you still look to hold the dollar?
There is no point of holding money overall, currency or dollar, because in the end they're all going to devalue. This is the game that everybody is playing. Let me show you the chart. Once the dollar goes down, do you think everybody else will keep on increasing the value of their currency? No, they will start stimulating so they can drop their currency against the dollar as well. They don't want to stimulate while the dollar is very high. If they stimulate while the dollar is very high, then they will lose the value of their currency against the dollar. So we have seen the European banks start stimulating as soon as the dollar dropped under that support level. They literally start stimulating and they start cutting rates.
As soon as they can.
As soon as they can. China has been already stimulating. I can show you the chart of China.
We call it the glorious race to the bottom.
Exactly. All fiat is going to the bottom in the end. So if somebody is a little bit hesitated, oh, I don't want to have a big drops in the market, just buy Bitcoin. Buy Bitcoin or literally buy MicroStrategy, because it's been dumping a lot and it's at a very stable price right now. And
Well, we have changing the subject slightly, but it's something that I've been fascinated with recently. We have MicroStrategy. They are almost the Bitcoin of these treasury stocks. What about buying some of the altcoins of these treasury stocks, the alt treasuries?
yes, that's a good point. They will run as well, but there is like a altcoin treasury for Trump coin. That was just like a funny thing, but you should buy the altcoin treasuries for the altcoins that go into mint stable coins,
Right.
like Solana, Sui, Hyperliquid. There is one fascinating treasury. It's called Lion Group Holding. They are 1.5 million market cap, but they have secured, I repeat, they have secured $600 million to buy Hyperliquid, to stake Solana and Sui. And they are already trading on the Nasdaq, and they want to be the big player in Asia in 3 different markets, I think in Indonesia, in Malaysia, and in Singapore, I guess. They are already trading in Hong Kong. I'm not so sure of the correct information, but they are trading at different stock exchanges.
How
One is
how
in
how
New
do you
York.
how do you quantify the values of these alternate treasury plays? How do you quantify the value? Is it a case of the more money that they can raise to go and buy crypto, the better? Or do we have to consider which cryptos they're buying and the utility of the cryptos that they're buying? Because you did mention you want to go after the projects that are buying stable coins, or building stable coins, but why exactly do you think that is?
Regarding stable coins, this is a very fascinating phenomena because the US government will stimulate the economy through stable coins. There is $6 trillion to be printed on stable coins, and they will do that with the Circle.
Did you hear recently, last week, they passed they call it the Genius
Genius
Act?
Act. Yes.
So they passed this act in American court so that they can now make stablecoins legal with certain caveats. If you're printing a certain amount, then you have to come and register and kiss the ring or whatever. But it is interesting that it does open the door to these exact plays.
Exactly, and that's why you have Circle been one of the most crazy trades right now. It's simple like this. The US government don't want to print money directly as a quantitative easing because they have to hide it somewhere because the public will go nuts, okay? Now I'm gonna smoke a cigarette. And what Scott Bessent said that they want to move the banking system into the 21st century by having a digital dollar, okay? USDC, that is backed by Coinbase. And they want them to print $6 trillion with a T. Now, how can they print $6 trillion? They will hold treasury for those 6 trillion. That is literally quantitative easing.
Yeah.
So they
Yep.
will buy treasury bonds and print dollars, digital dollars. And that's why Circle stocks went from 80 to 300 almost today.
Crazy
They were
run.
an IPO at 32. I could not buy the IPO. But then when it came out at 80 something, I guess. And today it's at, let's see, where's Circle here?
200 and something. You just had it.
It was it
Sorry.
further up.
I think it's further up. It's this one.
Yeah, it's in the middle. Yeah, that's it.
This is in 3 weeks. 4 weeks.
Look at that.
Shitcoin.
That's what we call a pump and dump.
No, this thing is not gonna
No
dump.
dump yet. It's just
It's
pumping.
not
It's
gonna
a pump
dump.
and pump.
There is this pump and pump. It's gonna dump somewhere, but be prepared to buy it because this is only the start. This is gonna be the biggest bank in the world. This is where the future is. All the banks are gonna use stablecoins.
Because I think we mentioned when this come out that at the moment it wasn't a buy. And I'm still standing by that. Because I think you will have a much better entries once we have the bear.
I don't know if this is. I don't know. Right. So now with this whole Genius Act being passed, I don't know if Circle is still a crypto company. I don't think it's a crypto company anymore. I think with the way
It's a treasury company.
it's now a treasury company. Yeah, it's now a treasuries company, and I think that changes everything for the prospects of this project. I don't think people sell it in the bear market because Bitcoin might go down, but dollars won't. Well, no quicker than they're going down anyway. So I'm
totally with you on that because how Circle will make revenue. Every time a transaction on stablecoin, they will earn a fee.
yeah, and the interest.
Imagine $6 trillion exchanging. How much fees? Then SWIFT system, the transaction between countries. How much fees? This thing is the trade of the century.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I missed out on it. It opened here.
You haven't missed out yet. You still have a bear to pick it up.
Let's just hope for a pullback. It did have a pullback a few days ago, but it was bought directly on the same day. See, like this small pullback, bam. This small pullback, then it went up. Today, okay, it's got rejected from here. So let's hope. There has to be a dump. And usually with all these treasuries, etc., they usually dump to the 50 Fibonacci. So that is the trick. Usually the 50 Fibonacci, because I've been eyeing a few of them, and they came down to the 50 Fibonacci. Yeah, somewhere there. See, that is the 50 Fibonacci. It came exactly to it. Then it went up. The same as the other treasuries like CEP. That is joining with 21 Capital. They want to buy 42,000 Bitcoin. And this is on one day. They announced it here and it started gapping up. This is like, it's very crazy to catch these pumps. And you can see it came to the golden ratio. This is the golden ratio. So you wait for this big dump, then you buy it. Now it's consolidating. It's been consolidating through this period. So these are good companies to buy for the future. CEP, Central Equity Partner. You have Asset as well. They want to become just like MicroStrategy. Circle as well. And a extremely higher beta for Solana is DeFi development.
How big is this one?
They're buying Solana with billions.
Oh,
This is when they came out. See, it's just this one went 60x. Then they retraced, they did a split, and they came back to the golden ratio as well. As soon as Solana start running, these two companies will run as well. This one is Sol Strategies. It went from 12 cents to $6. Then it did a big consolidation. So these are the companies for the altcoin season, because you want a higher beta on the top assets, which is Solana, SUI,
got ya.
and Hyperliquid.
Absolutely got ya. Absolutely got ya.
And Sol Strategies, you have it in, it's a Canadian company, but they have also a ticker for the US. That's why there is two different prices based on the exchange. They start accumulating SUI as well. Now, DeFi development is going to have a ticker on Kraken. So you can buy it with crypto.
So tokenized stocks.
Yeah, they're already starting, and they're doing it on Solana. All the tokenized stocks are on Solana. That's why Ondo Finance went down, because nobody's going to use that one. They're going to use the Solana blockchain.
The Gabriel, can I ask you about the time before these massive gaps up? So what were these companies doing? So let's take this Sol Strategies, for example. What were they doing in December 2023 when the price was so low? What did these companies do before they become treasury companies?
They were doing something also in tech, just like MicroStrategy. They have a software, then they changed and became a treasury. Sol Strategy was also doing something in tech, and here was the announcement where they changed that strategy. Sorry, let's see, it was September 2024, yeah, somewhere here.
Was there a change in their leadership during that time? So is what I'm considering is, has somebody else come in, seen that this company is kind of doing nothing, bought it like they're buying a company off the shelf, and then said, right, we're going to change this into a treasuries company?
Yes, there is different strategies. Either they open a new company, okay, and they adopt the treasury play game like MicroStrategy did, and you have an example, the Swedish company that went 17x. It's a very new company. This is the entire history of the company. Each candle is a week. They start like, I think 2 months ago, okay, and they announced that they want to buy Bitcoin, or they bought the first 4.5 Bitcoins here. It went up. And then they got a investment from what's his name with Cypherpunk? Adam Beck. They got $75 million to buy Bitcoins. Now they have 160 Bitcoins, 69, and the price just kept on shooting up. So that is one strategy. You open a company from scratch, and you basically focus on Bitcoin treasury only. There is a few ones on my radar that I'm keeping an eye on. And there is like this company, Lion Group, that I already invest in it. This one can give 300x, to be honest. And I have the method behind that. This was a normal company, but it was dying. As you can see, the price went down. And here, you see the arrow that I put? The news is still fresh. Here they filed for SEC to be a treasury company, and they have already secured $600 million to buy Hyperliquid, SUI, and Solana, and to have even staking and to be traded in...
Do we know when they are able to action that 600 million? Do you know if it's already been actioned?
they are not allowed to buy the asset yet until the SEC gives them the green light.
So they're still waiting for the green light.
Yes. So how I measure how much the upside potential is, calculating the value of the company, which is at a bargain $1.5 million, is like a meme. And then they have $600 million waiting to go into the company once the SEC gives them the green light. Now the question is, will it go directly 300x, or it will have a big run and pull back and big run and pull back? Yes, of course, it will have a big run, people take profit and continue like that. But this one's they want to be the big player in Hyperliquid and Solana as well. So these are the two strategies. A new open company that only focus on that, and companies that are dying, they adopt a different strategy. They change the leadership, they change the focus, they restructure the company's target and the plan of the company. And you have a SPAC, basically like CEP. CEP and assets are a SPAC. This company is a SPAC that's going to join 21 Capital.
Do you want to know something that's pretty scary? When the whole Celsius thing happened, there was a guy called Alex Mashinsky, and he gave a talk somewhere. I can't remember where it was, and he was talking, and he was saying that he registered with the SEC to build Celsius, and the registration cost him $5,000 US. So after hearing that, I realized that you can build these companies and it's not out of everyone's reach. So I done a quick search as you were talking to find out how much would it cost for me to register with the SEC, for me to effectively buy $100 million worth of Bitcoin and issue my own bonds or whatever. And the answer is about $15,000.
Exactly.
Crazy.
So anyone can do this. I mean, I'm not gonna.
So then, is this, and where my head goes next, is this the catalyst that will blow up for the bear? Will someone somewhere blow, force a liquidation, and then that will be a catalyst for all of these to force liquidate, go into that spiral down?
Please let that person be me, because whoever they are, they would have already made bank before the stuff hits the fan. They would have already been paying themselves whatever they're paying themselves. I think we should have a Crypto Waffle treasury company started next month, because it's not rocket science what these people are doing. It's just a little bit of cojones, and you pick a couple of the assets that you know aren't going anywhere. You take Solana, you take Sui, and you take Doge. And
I'd
that's
add
the
hype
end.
to that as well.
I was talking with a friends of mine that we want to do something like this. They were
I would like to be your friend.
yeah, but it can happen, because this is how they do it. You build a company, it won't cost you maximum than $5,000. Then you put the plan that you want to be a Bitcoin treasury. Then family offices, companies, wealthy people that they cannot purchase Bitcoin like you and I do on Binance or wherever, they go to these companies. They say, look, here is 100 million kroners or dollars, whatever. Buy Bitcoin with it. But I give them the value of the shares, so they own shares in the company. And I go and buy Bitcoin and I put it in the treasury. So it's a legit business. That's what actually Michael Saylor is doing. He's issuing stocks to wealthy people, so they give him the money and he buy. So now regarding forced liquidity, this is a lot of talk being going on. A lot of people were talking about this, but they have no idea about what they're talking. There is no forced liquidity. Because in the contract, they get the money, they buy the asset. That's it. There is no forcing you to sell. There is no margin debt. There is no leverage here. They don't buy it on 10x leverage or etc. They buy it from the OTC market. They store it in a wallet, safe, and that's it.
In fact, Gabriel, I don't think they even store it in a wallet because there
No,
are
I
companies
think they'd
like
hold it on an exchange.
no, there are companies like BitGo which are paid to be your custodian. So these
There is
companies, they're not going to have some dude has a wallet. You go and you pay this small percentage or some fees to an insured proper custodian. They hold your crypto.
they can the majority they have the third party that holds the Bitcoin, a custodian exactly. I think most of them have Coinbase or something big like that
Yeah,
because
yeah,
MicroStrategy have Coinbase.
yeah,
Yeah.
So they
yeah.
keep it there because Michael Saylor don't get access to it because it's not his own Bitcoin. He's the CEO of the company. I mean, he owns 17,000 Bitcoin that he bought in COVID. Yeah. So this can be achievable if somebody's interested and like have the contacts and know how to make those papers. I'm down to it.
You heard it
And
here first, guys.
one of my
Crypto
friends,
Waffle Treasuries Company coming soon.
one of my friends, uh, a good friend of mine, his friend is opening a Bitcoin treasury company in Sweden. Yeah,
I
Yeah.
think
and
I think I may have to do the same in the UK. It's it's now that the Americans have made it legal, and I did think this was going to be the case. Trump's come in, Gary Gensler's out, and it's not a question of pump my bags, but it's a question of all of a sudden all of these things that we dreamt of doing in 2013 and 2014 that we weren't allowed to do legally. Like we kind of was allowed to do them, but we would get shut down by the banks, or we'd get shut down by lawyers, or we'd get shut down in the process. Now all of a sudden there's nobody to shut us down, there's nobody that's going to stop us. So these
Yeah.
sorts of vehicles, everyone should have one. There's loads
They're
of
a
people
great tool to have.
and loads of people with companies where, all right, your company might make 10 or 15% margin per year, but none of these companies can come close to Bitcoin and the majors. Like so many companies there are that have got so much capital and they will not make as much money as Bitcoin and the majors. So you might as well close down your window cleaning company, close down your car dealership, just buy Bitcoin and sit back and look at number go up.
or keep the business going on to pay your expenses like the office, the
And just put all your
employees, and
profits in it.
etc., and have the Bitcoin treasury as well.
Yeah,
Because some companies did that. They
yeah,
kept their business and
Yeah.
they start acquiring Bitcoin. I mean, this is doable. And I wish that you are very serious on this because I am. And I have connection with a person that owned a Bitcoin exchange, the first Swedish Bitcoin exchange where I bought my Bitcoin in 2018 from him. He owned a mining farm, a power plant that works on hydraulic system, on water, and now he's moving into the Bitcoin treasuries. And he's an
yeah.
extremely close friend to a friend of mine.
Yeah, this definitely makes sense. We'll have to iron out the details
Yeah.
off stream, but it definitely makes sense. Shall we do our gems of
Right.
the week and move on to our predictions?
Yes. Let's get into gems of the week.
Yes.
So, Crypto
Shall
C,
I
let's start
stop
off with you.
sharing?
What is your gem of the week?
Yeah. Stop
Yes,
sharing, Gabriel.
please.
Do you want to pass me the rock, and I will go into my gem of the week, which has been performing terribly as of late. But my gem of the week is none other than a Solana play called Jupiter. So Jupiter is the biggest DEX on Solana. And the reason why it is my play of, or my gem of the week, is because of this thing. Let's see if I can if I can bring up a news story, announces. So they've announced something called DupeNet. Now, DupeNet is going to be their own network, which will allow you to exchange from other cryptos to other cryptos, even if they're not on the same network. So with DupeNet, you should be, in theory, able to exchange tokens like Monero for tokens like Doge. Jupiter is, I would say, the only rival to Uniswap. And when Uniswap built their own network, the problem that they had with their network was that their network only worked with EVM chains. So you can only do EVM to Uniswap or to Uniswap's network. Now, with Jupiter, that will be different. Since I made it my pick, which was about a week ago, it has performed terribly, but everything has performed terribly in the last week. So this is it down, I don't know, 20%. But that is my gem of the week, and that is why. So I think DupeNet will be something that we should all be looking out for.
Gabriel, over to you. What is your gem of the week? It could be a stock or a crypto, whichever you prefer.
Well, stocks, I mentioned Circle. That is one to be watching for as soon as it pull backs. MicroStrategy has been consolidating a lot. Lion Group, the treasury on Hyperliquid, and Solana and Sui. And you have also some other treasuries in the UK or in Europe, basically. Some of them are in Canada. You have, let's see here, Blockchain Group. They've been buying Bitcoin like no tomorrow, the Blockchain Group. And there is a new one that called, let me just check the name. They want to raise $1 billion to buy Bitcoin. The company is a SPAC. So the name is, let's see here, Columbus Circle Capital Corp 1. Okay.
So if you were to pick one, Gabriel, out of all those you just mentioned, which one would you pick for the next 3 months? So someone's got a time span of 3 months. They're looking for one play. What are you picking?
For the maximum gains?
Yes, let's go,
Yes,
baby.
maximum gains.
Lion Group.
Yeah.
Okay.
1.5
So high risk, high reward.
1.5 million market cap. I mean, it's nothing.
Yeah.
With
We're waiting
600
for the SEC to give him the go flag.
I have all the files.
We call that a degen play, but
That is a degen play.
Yeah.
That is a degen play.
Yeah.
You can read their news. The news articles, they said they want to be the biggest player.
Yeah.
And to
Interesting.
let people
We'll see
in
how it
Asia,
plays out.
and to let people in Asia have access to those top coins, which are Sui, Solana, Hype. Those are the top
Yeah.
coins. It's
Yeah.
not
See
my
how they play
opinion,
out.
it's Paul Raoul's opinion as well. He was big into Solana, he is big onto Sui, and now they are big on Hype. They made a study research, and they had an update regarding Hype, and they said this one is going to be one of the top players in this bull run, Hyperliquid. And you have a
Right.
treasury that highlights the gains on Hype. So what do you
Yeah.
want more? It's like the
I
best.
think it's a great pick, to be fair.
Yeah, but
And continuing on hype, Carl, tell me if I've already picked this, because I can't remember if I have or not. Have I already chosen Per as a gem of the week?
no.
Right, so continuing on the hype train, I'm going to stay, instead of playing hype, you play their native meme coin called Per. That is PURR. Now, you can only buy that on certain exchanges and on Hyperliquid itself. It is a leverage play of hype. If hype performs, Per will perform better, as we've seen pretty much from the bottom. I'm pretty sure I pointed this one out. It's got to be a couple months ago now.
Yeah, 2 months ago.
And it's probably, I mean, if I share a screen quickly, where are we? Dex screener.
Do you know what's happened now, though? Now that my eyes have been open to these treasury plays, it's going to be hard for me to look at anything in crypto now away from the
possibly
plays. This is what,
That's
this is how narratives gather hold.
When we bought Per up for the first time, I believe we were somewhere down here.
Yep.
In this area, because I was saying on a bigger time frame, i.e. the monthly, it was just going to be a fake out, and we saw an extended move to the upside. So if you manage to catch a decent average price of, call it, I don't know, 10 cents, you're currently up about 70%, or at peak you would have been up 2.5x, something like that. So if hype continues to go on its train and continues to make higher highs and higher lows, I suspect Per will do the same. As you can see, my current targets on Per go all the way up to $1.36. That could obviously change. So I think that would be an interesting one to play.
For me, my own opinion is these altcoins and memes, they have a season, and that season is going to be really hard due to the dominance. So the allocation to those companies in the TradFi might be a better risk to reward, because they will amplify the gains. People feel more safe to buy the stock with the existing company and etc. So that's why I'm changing my focus. I'm still with SUI and Deep, of course, but I'm reallocating to those.
So in cycles gone by, like last cycle in particular, the way I played that was SUI and Solana. I went and Cosmos. I went and I bought the DEXs on those L1s because I thought, okay, if the L1 does well, you'll get volume, the DEX will do well, and it worked out brilliantly. It's done the same this time round, got a little bit of aero, which is on base, and it's going to do the same. So I think in each cycle, in this cycle, I think these treasury companies, I'm quite sure we've just struck gold with this, these treasury companies are the new leveraged play on these majors.
So we are witnessing in real time the bubble being inflated.
We are, well, it's not a bubble yet. It's literally just the spark, because we're the only ones that are really watching this. This is not news. It's not on Twitter yet. So when it's on Twitter and all the people
it is on Twitter. I see loads of this on Twitter.
It's on Twitter, but there is more companies to come. There has been only like 100 companies, and only a few of them are pure Bitcoin play. And in Sweden or the Nordic, they have just come. And for lucky me, I have an inside contact, let's say.
It will spread like a wildfire.
You have to look at the region where you are. Like you are in the UK, see which are the recent ones in UK. If you are in France, look at which ones are in France. Then you can, of course, gain from the American ones as soon as the news drop. Don't read on the company.
And it's also a tax efficient way, specifically in the UK and maybe other places that have the likes of ISAs and stuff to play this stuff.
But not only that, but what about these companies in Brazil? What about these companies in Argentina, where you've got big companies who have got real problems with holding their own holding their own cash? They've got real problems with that. Now, if these guys now all of a sudden legally they can have their own treasuries, or they can become treasury companies on one side and continue to be mining companies on the other, or catering companies. Some of these countries are not peanuts. Like Brazil's not a joke. It's a big country we're talking about. So they've got some really big companies here. I think that there is some massive scale for finally crypto to find its real use case. And
well, not crypto. I would say Bitcoin is the argument here.
No, because I think it's Bitcoin and the majors. Because it's
to start, because it will always be Bitcoin to start. then if the ones that approve themselves, i.e. ETH, Sol, and others, they come in. But if you will probably see companies come in and they might pick something shit up. Like, let's say they pick up, I don't know, OM that went fucked.
Right.
They could pick up something random and they die.
Yep.
But obviously,
Bitcoin.
the first one a lot of people will pick up is just Bitcoin. Like,
Right.
there's no way you're going to have a
Shall I
big
tell
company coming
Shall I
in saying,
shall I
I'm
tell you
going to
what?
buy
Shall I
it.
tell you why you will? Because all these companies are competing. So you may have a company and you say, right, we'll only get Bitcoin, and I'll say, like, right, you can do like that guy, but in my company we're going to get Solana and we're going to get Doge, and we will outperform. So your company may have made more money, sold more cars, or
Yeah.
done more of whatever you were supposed to do,
But
but
you've
your
got to
treasury,
remember that we also understand the space. They were completely new to this.
yeah, but I
Like,
think we're in
that
the
is a learning curve in itself.
but it's the information age. So I think that that information will be somebody will be employed by them,
Yeah.
consultants, like all these people. Somebody will be employed to say, right, listen, if you take a little bit more risk, your treasury will outperform their treasury. If your treasury outperforms their treasury, you've got more money for more advertising. You've got more money for
Yeah,
more
but
this, more that.
I totally understand it. I see it happening, but we have to remember we are still such a small percentile of people that know what crypto is, how it works.
Yeah.
Like, there's still 7%, I think, is of people globally that own crypto. Like, that is tiny.
Look
Now,
at
if
that
you're a
room for growth.
company, yeah, if you're a company, right, you are in like the 0.1% of all companies worldwide that maybe hold Bitcoin on their balance sheet,
Yeah.
right? And obviously, yes, the companies that get there first will probably profit best, but there's no way you go to the likes of, say, the M&S owner in the UK, right? And so you're going to put Bitcoin on your balance sheet. He'll go, no, not a chance. Nike, but I don't see that happening anytime soon.
Yeah, it will. And do you know how? And here's another thing, right? Here's how we know. Do you remember when the metaverse thing came out? When there was metaverse last year?
Yeah, around Facebook.
Remember all of the companies that jumped on metaverse?
Yeah.
Everybody jumped on the Gucci had metaverse and Nike had metaverse and Snoop Dogg was in the metaverse and everybody was in the metaverse. So this will be no different to that. As soon as there's money to be made or something to be done, people will
I just
activate.
don't think that you'll be this cycle. Yes, you'll get some companies do it. Like, I know Microsoft already talked about it, and that got shut down straight away by their board. Like, they weren't having any of it. Like, yes, I think the dying companies, they've got nothing to lose, so you go for it. I think Apple may be one of the first big ones because their share, like, across the globe of phones wise, profitability is just dwindling slowly. So they will probably get to a point at time somewhere where they have to just capitulate
Take that
and
risk.
go, right, we're now a treasury. We're now a gold and Bitcoin backed treasury, whatever that
Tesla,
may be.
Ford, there's loads of companies who
I don't think Tesla will do that anytime soon.
Tesla,
Ford maybe.
Tesla already done it, didn't they? Tesla
Already done
already
it
got
last
Bitcoin on their
cycle.
back.
Yeah, they have stuff on the balance sheet, but what I'm saying, they're not a treasury company, is what I'm
No,
saying.
no, no. They will never become a treasury company.
Right.
Yeah.
They will hold it on the balance sheet, but they will never become a treasury company
Yeah.
because they have their successful business. But instead of having 4% on their cash by holding bonds or whatever, they hold Bitcoin instead. That's what they are
And
doing.
then there's a grey area. And that's what I'm talking about. There's a grey area where companies don't have to purely stop everything they're doing and become treasury companies,
No.
but their treasury will probably outperform their
Yeah.
primary source of income.
Yes.
Before we go into thingies, because we're then talking about this for hours otherwise.
Just
So
one point I
before
would
we
like
go
to
into
address.
go on, Gabriel, finish it off.
Yes, sorry. Regarding the companies that hold altcoins, they are holding only Solana and recently Sui. There is an XRP company as well,
Yeah, I
XRP
saw
Treasury.
that.
But why they are holding Solana and Sui is because of the staking. They filed for the SEC to give them permission for staking. If they do 8-9% a year on a couple of $1 billion, do you think that is a little money for them? That is not a little money for them. And they know what's
Yeah.
going on for Solana. The stablecoin is going to be minted on Solana. They're going to move the Nasdaq on Solana. It's already happened on Bybit, on Kraken, Coinbase. They have stocks that you can buy them with crypto.
What does that mean for US treasuries? What does that mean for not only US treasuries, but anyone's treasuries?
Have you heard about Bitcoin-backed treasuries?
No.
That's what's gonna happen.
This is super interesting.
This is
But
super
It
let's do
is.
our thing. We're 100%. I'm gonna have to come back to this next week because
Right.
there is like it's really finally after 12 years doing this stupid crypto stuff, I can now see how it changes stuff. I can now see it.
How
But
I
it's got a
can now.
product market fit.
unfortunately for now, only Bitcoin is the winner. Let's be
Yeah.
honest here. Yeah.
Yeah. But I remember when I first got into crypto and it was Bitcoin versus Mastercoin and all that other rubbish, and everyone was like, it's only going to be Bitcoin. It's only, and then, like a $2 trillion business popped up behind Bitcoin. So Bitcoin can still be there, but there's still plenty underneath it.
Yes.
So
Yeah. Right.
let's, let's see.
Let's get into charts and predictions. Anyway, before we go over to predictions of the week, I quickly just want to show this oil chart. Now, again, TA, as Gabriel said earlier, I can't remember exactly what you said, Gabriel, but you said price is king or something along those lines. Or look at a chart and a price, it will tell you effectively. Now, what you're seeing here is a falling wedge, effectively, in my eyes, in oil. This here, I think you could be classed as a fake out, or we could, in the coming weeks to month, whatever it may be, get some sort of fake out in oil. Normally, after you see a fake out, you get an extended move to the downside. From here, well, I think after this event will calm down, I think oil actually comes down to touch this $50 area. I'm just going to throw that in there. But we're going to very quickly move on because we are way over time today, because it has been, quite frankly, an absolutely class episode full of alpha. So first of all, what tokens, or actually, oh shit, from last week, I've just deleted Tron. Let's get that back on here.
We done last week. We predicted on BTC,
Yeah,
Tron, Trump, BNB, and
yeah,
Monero.
Monero. So I believe, I'm going to assume this one here at 2,600 on Tron is yours. Is that
That was
correct?
me. Yep.
Yeah, and we did touch it and we're now back up. I was out. Bitcoin predictions, we were both correct.
Yep. We both
Uh,
said, well, let's let Gabriel know because he may have
yeah,
missed last week's show, but we both predicted Bitcoin to drop last week.
yeah. And at the time, we were up at probably around 104, 105,
104, and there was no
maybe
bombs being
106.
dropped by
Yeah,
Americans in Iran. But what we did know was that we was in that range. So we've just been saying we're
yeah,
going to stay in this range between 110 and 100 for the time being.
yeah. And also, so Trump last week was up at around $9.28 when we did it. We
Yeah.
predicted we come down to around where we are now, and we've hit that pretty much yesterday.
We made money
So
on
it's
that because
perfect timing.
that was one of our bets on Hyperliquid.
Yeah.
So that
We
went
have
up well.
B&B, both incorrect, kind of just been really stagnant since Monday, hasn't really moved at all, literally only down about $20. So not much there. Monero, we thought would go up, has not done that, has sold off along with everything else. And finally, Tron did hit your target, but has bounced back up and hasn't hit mine quite yet. So overall, a mixed week, but I'd say slightly more losses than wins. But I think we made money on the trading side of things.
No. We're even. We got
And
5
we're
right,
break
and
even.
5 wrong.
Right, okay.
I got 3, you got 2.
Right, this week, assets. Gabriel, give me a crypto asset you would like to predict.
Actually, no, Alex, let's do ours first. So we'll do Bitcoin so that Gabriel knows the routine.
Right, okay.
We'll do Bitcoin first, then we'll do one of the majors, then I'll pick one, then we'll get Gabriel to pick one.
Okay, go for it. So where do you think Bitcoin's going this week?
Well,
Back, I'm going to
if
say
you
back
zoom
up.
out a little bit,
Back,
We're predicting for next week, though, remember? Not in a month or
yeah,
two.
zoom out a
We
little
want,
bit. Zoom out
where
a
are
little
we by
bit
next
more.
Monday?
Exactly. You see the RSI, it came to the oversold levels, okay?
Yeah,
And it might bounce, but what is there in the chart is a head and shoulder. You can see it clearly. That have a target of 93. Exactly, that is
Yeah.
shoulder, that is the head, that is the shoulder. And it's like testing the neckline. It went a little bit below, it went back up of it. It's
Yeah.
No, not
Oh,
now.
we lost him.
Not now.
Not again.
I was
Gabe.
about to make a major bet based on whatever he said.
Right. Well, what he's saying is that I'm playing more of a double top here, but what Gabriel is saying that we've actually got this shoulder, head, shoulder, and it's the same targets effectively. The double top pattern gives you the same targets, the head and shoulders, and that is telling us that we will go to around 90, call it 93k, if that pattern is to play out. Obviously, the question is,
so
does that pattern play out over the next week?
went off.
Or
Ah,
not?
he's back.
The-
We have two Gabriels.
Yes, and now you do like this. You put global liquidity index on top of it. Then you have all the scenarios. You have the head and shoulder, you have the oversold RSI, and you have a global liquidity index with, of course, with the time offset. Did you put it on 12 weeks?
I believe this one's on
Of
11.
84 days. Try to put it on 84 days.
84 days, yeah?
12 weeks. You see that is corresponding with this low that we are in. So the liquidity we have to put more weight onto it. So that is
Oh, he's gone again.
But he just contradicted what he said. So what's he saying? That the
So
liquidity.
he's saying you have to put more weight in the global liquidity rather than the head and shoulders top.
So we're going up.
So yes, according to global liquidity, you would be going up. But then obviously, do you remember when we went back to summer? So let me line this up properly. So if we go back to the summer, we obviously kind of deviated from global liquidity. Do you remember going into that Q4?
Yeah.
yes,
This is
we are
really
slightly
annoying.
deviated on the short term, but on the long term it will catch up to it.
Yeah.
So yeah, and if we look at the amount of leverage in the system, it's pretty low,
Yeah.
and the longs are starting to get back in there as well. So it should go higher now in the next 2 weeks, let's say. But in this week, if we put the stochastic RSI, it's crossing negative. And usually it's a confirmed negative cross on the 80 level as well. If you put the stochastic RSI indicator.
I had it on here earlier.
ST. You've got
ST.
SO.
ST. Stochastic
There it is.
RSI, exactly. You put the chart on the weekly. That is the cross underneath the 80 level. That is a confirmed cross. This is what I don't like. If you go back in history, you can see it is doing the same thing. Each time it crosses there, Bitcoin goes down. There is not a lot of false signals there.
So overall, with those three things in mind, head and shoulders plus stochastic, you think down, the global liquidity won't be enough to lift us up.
Or probably these can be fake outs. These can be fake
Because
outs.
also, if you zoom out a bit further and you go to the monthly, the stochastic is very low.
Exactly, yeah.
So it depends on time horizons, and because we're looking for next week, obviously you look at the daily effectively, and arguably the daily stochastic should say we're bottoming effectively, or starting to put in a bottom. Yeah. So
all right,
it depends what you pour more weight on. But what are you picking, Crypto.si?
Listen, I had an idea before, but you two have just confused the heck out of me. So now
No, just say your idea. What is your idea?
I'm gonna go higher.
Okay.
I'm gonna
What
go
price?
higher. 106. Do you know what? No, I'm not gonna go high. I'm gonna go lower.
Okay, to where?
95.
Yeah, that is the order block.
Gabriel, where would you like to go?
I mean, if it closes under the I think was it 99 or something, the neckline of the head and shoulder. If it closes there and confirms the breakdown, then yeah, it will go to 93. That is the target. But it
So
can
you're
be
choosing 93?
yeah, but it can be also a fake out because we had that few weeks. We had that few
Yeah.
weeks ago. It went a little bit below. You see that a few weeks ago, the shoulder, the head, and the shoulder. It went a little bit below. Then it went back up to 110, I guess.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
what are you going with, Gabriel?
103. No, 93, yeah?
93, yeah, but it
Yeah.
can reverse from 95.
Okay, I'm going to be the bull here because
Yeah.
we've got too. Even though I'm actually like running a Bitcoin short at the minute as a hedge, I'm going to have to be the bull because the consensus trade in this call anyway seems to be bearish. So I'm going to say we rerun to 105 first, and then maybe we get that sweep. But asset wise, Crypto.si choose an asset, Gabriel choose one, then I'll choose one.
I'm going to choose for my asset. I'm going to choose render.
Okay,
I want to choose
Gabriel,
render.
Lion Group, the best risk to reward. And it's
can we keep it to crypto just for next
crypto.
week? Yeah, sorry. Because just we put a trade on, a live trade with the asset.
I think hyper because it bounced from a Fibonacci level.
Yeah, we can have hype. And then I'm going to have the Mighty Syrup, which has been absolutely crushing it. Crypto.si, another one.
Sui.
And then Gabriel, the last one, another crypto.
Yeah, I totally agree on Sui.
Okay, Sui, so I'll choose one. Let's have a look.
No, that's 5. BTC, render, hype, syrup,
Oh, yeah, it
Sui.
is, sorry. I thought we still had 4. Render, what do we think? Oh my God.
Yeah, down, down, down.
I would stay away from render. You look at it against Sui, it's really bad. Against Bitcoin, it's going even worse.
So I'm going to predict it goes down to $2.30.
If you're shorting,
230.
yeah. Mm.
Yeah, it could be any trade. It could be long, short, whatever you prefer. Gabriel, where do you think Render's going over the next week?
Let me put it here on my chart.
Again, I'm going to be the bull and I'm going to say 330. Is that appropriate or not big enough?
Yeah, that's fine. Because I think
Well,
direction change
okay.
is...
It have a bullish divergence on the RSI.
Support is support until it's proven otherwise. And we're currently on support.
If it breaks from here, then yes, it will go to the bottom of the channel because it's in a bull flag. That was what it's creating actually. It's in the bottom of the range right now. It might give a run up to the let's see, the Fibonacci.
So Gabriel, when you're reading these charts, is the first thing you look at the RSI? Is that the one that seems to be the most accurate for you?
The RSI, you try to predict if there is a look. What the financial institutions look for is very simple. They do Fibonacci trend lines and volume. If you put the volume and you see a decline in the price but also a decline in volume, then that is a fake out. Just like what we have here in render, there is a decrease in volume. Then that will make you think, okay, let me put the RSI. Once you put the RSI, you see a clear bullish divergence. A bullish divergence, if you open the RSI, I think everybody knows what bullish divergence is. The price
Do you want to explain to the followers that
Yeah,
don't know what a bullish
yeah.
divergence
And
is.
I'm one of them. I don't know what
Yes,
bullish
the
divergence.
divergence, it means the price diverge from the indicator for the overbought and oversold, the RSI. As you guys can see on the 1 week, we have the price coming to the same lows, the
Oh,
closing.
okay. So you're okay. So
Yeah,
what to point it out? You have these lows here, and we've created a higher low
exactly.
on the
That is
RSI, whilst price is at the same level.
exactly. That is usually a bullish divergence. If you look at Bitcoin in the bear market, it was doing the same in the weekly when it
Yeah.
went to 15K.
Obviously, on the daily, it's a different story. But
On the
yes,
daily, it's oversold, but it
yeah,
depends on the trade. If you're looking at the weekly, yeah, that's something else.
yeah,
But even on the daily, you can literally say that is a hidden bullish divergence because the price is the same, but the indicator made a lower low. That means there was a buying power. So it was oversold more than before, but the price held that level.
So where do you think it will be by next week? Monday
It's
next week. Where will
then,
render be?
then that you use the Fibonacci. You use the from this low to the top of this, and you have those levels 3.2, 3.6, $4. Those are the levels you look at in the
Which
Fibonacci.
level are you picking?
You pick the first bounce coming back to the 78, then the golden ratio.
And what price is that?
The 3.24,
3.24.
.2.
Is that your target for next week?
The next week, let's look at the weekly then.
It sounds like it. I think that was the 3.2.
Okay.
Lock it in. Top G.
It should come, yeah, to the golden ratio. 3.2 first because you have those candles from the previous. Or if you put it
Yeah.
on the weekly, you have the candle close from the previous. Then if it managed to go above that, then it will go to the golden ratio, which is at 4.1. Then the top of the move down. Put it
Yeah.
on the 1 week chart, then you can see that.
So going to here, you're saying, yeah?
Yeah, that's the first target. The closing candles of the
Yeah.
yeah, there, and then the box that you have. So literally, you have the levels. The top of the first box,
So do you
then
know what's
this.
funny? I don't use any of the Fibonacci's, but I have all the levels still.
Yeah, because the Fibonacci is this how human emotion works. It calculates how
Yeah.
human emotion works,
Yeah.
and
All you're doing is trading levels.
exactly, and the same levels on the Fibonacci is the same levels on the candles.
Yeah. So moving on to hype. Next week, where do we think we will be? We need to wrap this up because unfortunately I need to shoot soon. So if we could just have like fire answers, that would be fantastic.
Quick fire answers, right?
Yeah, please. Hype, where are we by next Monday?
All right, you go first. I'm definitely going after Gabriel because
I'm saying 42.5.
I can share my chart here if that is okay because I had some levels that were broken. Actually, we have a put hype on the and zoom out a little bit. You see there's an inverse head and shoulder, and there is a
Yeah,
trend line that goes from the bottom to the top. That trend line got broken a few days ago. That's why hype was dumping.
right.
Okay. And that trend line is at 39. Now
So you
we
reckon
put
39?
yes to test the trend line
Okay,
if it managed because
perfect.
it bounces from the 38 Fibonacci that was the 32 $30 on hype, and it tried to reclaim that trend line. If it goes back above it, then it will activate the inverse head and shoulder where
Yeah,
everything goes bullish.
yeah.
Then it will
Okay,
double from there. But all depend on
perfect.
Bitcoin because that's the index.
Yeah. Crypto C, where are we going?
29.
29.
Yeah.
Sticking with the bearish theme.
Arr, arr, arr.
Okay, syrup.
Syrup, I have not looked at it.
Take a guess. Any number between 55 cents and 30 cents, I think, is a solid guess.
And I think
Yeah.
also, yeah, that's better because that way you can see what you can work out with that chart there. You're not allowed to use
Yeah,
any
not allowed any
RSI,
RSIs, nothing.
no Fibonacci's, no cheating,
Just
no
my crappy drawings.
no steroids, no nothing.
Well, it
I'm going to
bounces.
go bearish here, 35.
There is no volume on the bounce. There is no volume, but that is a bullish candle though from the day prior. It might pump a little bit, but then yeah, goes back down. There is no volume on the breakout.
What do you reckon? Back to all-time highs of 55 cents?
No, it's
Nah.
broken the trend line. I can see there is a trend line that is broken.
Lower
Just
or
like
higher?
probably it will go lower. And if you put it on the 4 hour, there is a head and shoulder.
I'm going to say 39 then.
Yeah, you see there is a head and shoulder, and the
39.
shoulder is forming right now.
And what you're saying, this is shoulder, this is a big head, and this is shoulder.
No. This is right now, it's forming a shoulder.
Yeah.
Before the shoulder, there is a head. Go back to the head.
This one here?
Yes, and this is and next to it is the shoulder.
Right, okay, so you're saying across here.
Yeah.
So a small shoulder here.
Yeah,
head.
pull it up a little bit actually. Yeah, you can
Right,
pull it up.
shoulder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The line, you can pull it up to the shoulder, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Right, so where do we think? Price?
Probably going to the lower of the box that you have there.
What, 35 with me?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, let's do that. Crypto.si, where are you going?
I said 39.
Oh, 39, right, okay. Where are we? 39, 39, 39. And then finally, Sui. Where do you guys think Sui's going?
It's going to hell.
To hell?
Oh no, look at that. Look at that chart.
What do you mean, mate? Look at that chart. It's beautiful.
Is it ready? Is it ready for the next leg up?
Right.
It's
I'm
supposed to be ready
going
for the next leg up.
$2.80.
It's supposed to be ready for the next leg up. But it's
$2.80 is my target.
yeah, the previous crash or the correction that happened, it broke the bull flag. So it's a yeah, it's supposed to bounce from here. I'm hoping so. Otherwise,
Where to, Gabriel? What price? Same
to
as
the
me,
hospital,
280.
I guess. Let's see here.
I'm saying 320. Put me down for 320, please.
320. Okay, nice big bounce, you reckon?
Top of the box.
Yeah. It's still a massive ball flag. on the
Well,
day,
it's
look at that.
extremely oversold, so it will start a new uptrend if I look at the RSI. It's more oversold than the April lows.
So you coming with me, or are you going to go more bullish with Crypto.si at 336?
I hope, yeah, 336. Let's see.
Okay, let's go with that.
Well, I actually
Right.
I did say 320, so I don't know why you've put me at 336.
Oh, sorry. Okay, I totally apologise. Oh, that is 320. I don't know why I said 336. It's just because your name was there.
Okay.
Yeah, 320. Right, trading. Carl, over to you.
Guys, I forgot that we had to do that as well.
Yes. Gabriel, you're choosing one to trade for next week. Which one are you going to trade? Bitcoin, Render, Hype, Syrup, or Sui?
Well,
I think the Sui long is the
the most rewarding because it came to a trend line exactly.
yeah, that's
Why don't
the,
do you know what? I reckon you two both double down and that'd be the trade.
yeah. I'm going with top G. I'm going for a Sui long.
Yeah, you can put a trend line since the yen carry trade and put a trend line since the April lows, and it came to that trend line.
Yeah.
In a way, it starts bouncing from it. So if it holds it, that's good. Yeah.
So we're doubling down on the SUI long. So where would you put your stop loss then, Gabriel? If you're getting in at 255 and you're looking to take profit at 320, where are you sticking your stop loss?
For me, I don't do that. I don't put stop loss because I don't do leverage. For me, it's asset allocation.
Yeah.
I filter out the ones that outperforming Bitcoin by putting their chart against Bitcoin on a longer time horizon, just like SUI. Then when it's some risk in the market, I move to Bitcoin and I wait for the drop, and then I come and pick it back up. So I don't care if it drops 10 or 15% more. I just wait for it to pump back up again. So for me, risk reward ratio, the SUI is looking good. If you want to, instead, if you don't want to put a lot into SUI, put into deep, half of the position, and put the rest in cash, because deep will outperform SUI. So that is my philosophy. Otherwise, if we go to stop losses and etc., then you have to put fair value gaps, liquidation levels, and all of that. And you put like a stop loss 1.5% under your entry. But then we know crypto is
volatile. So we normally like to put nice wide stop losses.
I've gone for 220.
Yes, I was literally going to say that. You read my mind.
Yeah, 220 probably is good. 230 as well. There is a support, a trend line there.
Yeah, so we like to get just under the support so that we don't get kissed and tapped out, which has happened to us a few times.
Yeah. How did we do last week, by the way?
What are you doing, Alex?
No, we're just doubling down on SUI.
Okay.
Because remember when the Crypto Insight UK come on, it was just me and him that did it. So now it's just you and Gabriel.
Okay, fine. So a quick update on last week's trade history. The Trump short that we put on, we hit our take profit. Nice. And we took out 11% or $11.
You need to close that B&B one.
B&B.
Positions.
Yeah, there we are. We're down. Close it?
Yeah,
There's no point closing it now.
Yeah, close it. What do you mean? We close them every week.
Yeah, but we can let this one run.
No. Close it.
Okay, so we're going to close B&B down $3.
Yeah.
Popcat
or 13%.
Is so close to getting tapped out.
Well, let's see. That's the whole point of the risky game.
Sorry?
I have no idea.
No.
What was the question?
How many people are watching?
Oh, we don't know. No, we don't know. But we'll get about 100 on YouTube.
That's good.
Yeah. Yeah, we're getting there. We're almost famous.
We're going to get our Bitcoin treasury. We're going to work hard for it.
Yeah, Crypto Waffle treasury.
Crypto Waffle treasury is coming. And do you know what we're going to do? We're going to add Sunak, which was our own meme coin that we ordered last year. We're going to add that to the treasury. And we're going
I think what we should do is have a community treasury, i.e. the community votes on what assets we hold.
There's no way.
What?
Because the community will get too big and then the community will become morons. Imagine if you did that with one of these big communities.
It's funny. It's only money. Who cares? It's only money.
Like that, because if we open a treasury, then we want to attract high-profile individuals.
We want to attract gamblers.
Yeah, high-profile individuals. That gives you literally tens of millions of dollars in real money to buy Bitcoin. They want a pure, clean Bitcoin strategy. They don't want the risk because they have the time horizon. They don't care. As long as there is the Bitcoin in the safe. And that's why it has to be a pure Bitcoin play. But otherwise, you can have a meme coin for the community and etc. That will be definitely a nice thing to do. But what I think we should do, we should have a secret meeting and negotiate the Bitcoin treasury.
Secret meeting. Well, thank you for today, Gabriel. It's been an absolute class episode for all those charts you provided with us and your macro outlook. So until next time, actually, before we go, don't forget to check out the cryptowaffle.fun website. Be sure to check out the free Telegram if you haven't joined already. We also have the VIP, so see what that involves if you think about it. have a little look, see what you think. If you want to join, it's only $20 or £20 wherever you are in the world. And until next week, stay safe out there, stay tuned,